The stars rippled like water as the massive ships tore through space. Commander Veltar pressed his clawed hand against the viewing window and watched the yellow star grow brighter ahead. His heart beat faster with excitement. After 3 months of travel, they had finally reached their destination. Third planet shows active signals, reported his second-in-command. The smaller alien clicked his mandibles together, a sign of pleasure among their kind. Electromagnetic patterns suggest primitive technology. This should be an easy hunt. Veltar nodded slowly. Zephyrians had been hunting across the galaxy for over 200 years. They had taken 17 worlds, each one adding to their reputation as the greatest predators in known space. Their bioships pulsed with living energy, grown rather than built, shaped by centuries of genetic engineering. Each vessel was a weapon, a hunter, a living thing that craved the chase as much as its crew. The bridge hummed with quiet activity as scan results appeared on the organic displays. The third planet was mostly water, with large land masses scattered across its surface. Billions of heat signatures moved across the continents, perfect hunting grounds. "What do we know about the prey?" Veltar asked. His tactical officer, a scarred veteran named Krixta, studied the readings. Bipedal mammals. Average height appears to be 5 to 6 feet, no natural armor or claws. They seem to use crude metal tools and primitive aircraft. Their cities are large but poorly defended. Veltar's lips pulled back in what his species considered a smile. 2 rows of razor-sharp teeth gleamed in the dim light. Soft prey, the kind that runs and screams. The elders will be pleased with this hunt. The Zephyrians stood 9 feet tall, with thick gray skin that could turn away most projectiles. Their claws could slice through steel, and their enhanced muscles gave them speed that few species could match. They had evolved on a world where only the strongest survived, where hunting was not just a way of life, but a sacred art. "Begin deployment," Veltar ordered. "Send scout pods to the major population centers. I want hunting parties on the ground." Within 6 hours, far below, orbiting the blue and green planet, Captain Jake Morrison was having a very different kind of morning. He floated in the observation deck of Horizon Base, drinking coffee from a magnetic cup and watching Earth turn. Slowly beneath him, the Orbital Defense Station was humanity's first line of defense against asteroid impacts and space debris. It was not designed to fight aliens. "Captain, we're picking up some strange readings," called Lieutenant Amy Parker from the communications center. Her voice carried a note of concern that made Jake push off from the window and drift toward her station. "What kind of readings?" he asked, grabbing a handrail to stop his momentum. Amy frowned at her screens. "Large objects just appeared at the edge of the solar system. They're not showing up on our deep space telescopes, but our gravity sensors are going crazy. Whatever they are, they're massive." Jake felt a cold knot form in his stomach. First contact protocols existed, but they were theoretical. Nobody really expected to use them. How many objects? 12. No. 13. They're moving toward us at incredible speed. "Captain, they'll be in Earth orbit in less than 4 hours." Jake activated the station's alert system. Red lights began flashing throughout Horizon Base as the crew scrambled to their emergency positions. He opened a direct channel to Earth Defense Command. "Earth Control, this is Horizon Base. We have a situation." The response came back immediately. "Horizon Base, this is General Martinez. We're tracking the same signals down here. We're looking at meteors or something else." Jake watched Amy's readings update in real time. Objects were slowing down, changing course with precision that no natural phenomenon could explain. "Sir, these are under intelligent control. We're looking at first contact." The silence on the channel stretched for several seconds. Finally, General Martinez spoke again. "Jake, I'm upgrading this to code red. Try to establish communication. If they're hostile, ... He didn't finish the sentence. Jake understood. If they were hostile, Horizon Base and its crew of 30 were the only thing standing between Earth and whatever was coming. "Amy, can you establish a communication channel?" Jake asked. "I'm trying all frequencies. Standard mathematical sequences. Prime numbers, the works." Amy's fingers flew over her controls. "Wait, I'm getting something." It's not a response to our signals, but there's definitely chatter between the unknown objects. Can you translate it? The computer is working on it. The language structure is unlike anything in our databases, but there are some repeated patterns. Amy paused, her face going pale. Captain, some of these words are coming through the translation matrix. They keep using terms that translate to prey, hunt, and sport. Jake felt his blood turn cold. These weren't explorers or traders coming to make peaceful contact. They were predators, and humanity had just become their target. On Luna Research Facility, Dr. Rick Santos was having similar thoughts as he studied the incoming data. The xenobiologist had spent his entire career preparing for this moment, but the reality was nothing like he had imagined. The alien ships were clearly biological, in nature, with heat signatures that suggested living tissue rather than metal hulls. "They're hunters," he whispered to his empty laboratory. The biosignatures were all wrong for a peaceful species. These aliens had evolved as predators, probably apex predators on their homeworld. Their ships were built for hunting, not exploration. Rick reached for his communication unit to contact Earth Defense Command, but the channel was already buzzing with activity. Military frequencies were lighting up as bases around the world went to high alert. Humanity's first contact with alien life was about to become humanity's first interstellar war. High above Earth, the Zephyrian fleet moved into hunting formation. Their bioships pulsed with anticipation as scout pods prepared for deployment. Commander Veltar watched the blue planet grow larger and smiled his predator's smile. The hunt was about to begin. The first hunting pod crashed through the atmosphere like a falling star. It streaked across the Oregon sky, leaving a trail of green fire that lit up the dawn. The pod slammed into the forest floor with enough force to shake the ground for miles. Around, trees that had stood for centuries were crushed in seconds. Squad leader Krixta emerged from the smoking crater, his massive form unfolding like a nightmare made real. His thick gray skin showed no damage from the violent landing. 11 other Zephyrian hunters climbed out of the pod, their claws extended and their eyes scanning the forest for prey. "Scent trails everywhere," growled one of the hunters, his nostrils flaring. "This world is thick with prey." Krixta nodded slowly. The air carried the smell of countless mammals, birds, and other creatures. But underneath it all was the scent. They had come for the smell of the dominant species on this planet. The bipedal mammals that built the cities and made the electromagnetic signals. "Remember the rules," Krixta told his squad. "We take them alive when possible. The elders want to study these creatures before we begin the full hunt. But if they resist," he flexed his claws, "we do what we must." The hunting party moved through the forest with deadly grace. Each Zephyrion was a perfect killing machine, bred for the hunt over thousands of years. Their feet made no sound on the forest floor. Their eyes could see in perfect darkness. Their enhanced hearing could detect a heartbeat from 100 yards away. They had hunted on 17 worlds. They had faced creatures with natural armor, poisonous claws, and electrical attacks. The soft mammals of this world would be easy prey. Marine Sergeant Tony Blake was having a bad morning even before the aliens arrived. His 8-man reconnaissance unit was supposed to be running a simple training exercise in the Oregon forests. Instead, they had been hiking through mud and rain for 3 hours trying to reach their checkpoint. "Sarge, you sure we're going the right way?" asked Corporal Danny Webb, adjusting his heavy pack. "GPS says we are," Tony replied, checking his handheld device. "Should be another 2 miles to the rally point." That was when they heard the crash. The sound rolled through the forest like thunder, shaking the ground beneath their feet. Birds exploded from the trees in panic, and Tony felt his combat instincts kick into high gear. "What the hell was that?" whispered Private Kyle Ross. Tony held up his hand for silence and listened carefully. The forest had gone completely quiet after the crash.
Yes.
No birds, no insects, no small animals moving through the underbrush. In Tony's experience, that kind of silence meant only one thing. Predators were nearby. "Danny, get on the radio to base," Tony ordered quietly. "Tell them we just had some kind of impact in our area. Kyle, you and Martinez take point. Everyone else, combat spacing, something doesn't feel right. The squad moved forward through the trees, their training taking over. They had all served tours in combat zones around the world. They knew how to move quietly, how to watch for threats, how to stay alive when things went wrong. Tony had been a soldier for 12 years. He had fought in urban warfare, desert combat, and jungle operations. He had seen enemies who were bigger, better armed, and more experienced than his Marines. But he had also learned that size and strength meant nothing if you were smart enough to even the odds. The Marines crept toward the crash site. Using every bit of cover the forest provided, they moved like ghosts through the trees, their weapons ready, but their safety still on. If this was some kind of aircraft accident, they might be dealing with survivors who needed help. That changed when they saw the crater. "Jesus Christ," whispered Private Martinez, staring at the smoking hole in the ground. "What kind of plane makes a crater like that?" Tony studied the impact site through his binoculars. The object that had created the crater was unlike anything he had ever seen. It looked more grown than built, with smooth curves and what appeared to be breathing holes along its sides. There were tracks leading away from it. Big tracks, with what looked like claw marks. "That's not a plane," Tony said quietly. "Danny, did you reach base?" "Negative, Sarge. Radio's not working. Something's jamming our frequencies." Tony felt his gut tighten. In his experience, when communications went down and strange objects fell from the sky, "You were probably looking at enemy action," he signaled. For his squad to take defensive positions around the crater, that was when the first Zephyrian stepped out of the trees. The alien was massive, easily 9 feet tall, and built like a living tank. Its gray skin looked thick enough to stop bullets, and its claws gleamed like polished steel. When it saw the Marines, it tilted its head like a curious dog and smiled, showing 2 rows of razor-sharp teeth. "New prey," it said in perfect English, its voice like gravel in a cement mixer. Small, but armed. "This'll be interesting." Tony's training kicked in before his shock could paralyze him. He dove behind a fallen log and shouted, "Contact!" Open fire. 8 Marine rifles opened up at once, filling the forest with the sound of gunfire. The first alien staggered under the impact but did not fall. Its thick skin absorbed most of the damage, and what got through seemed to only make it angry. More aliens appeared from the trees, moving with impossible speed. They scattered and flanked the Marines with the tactical precision of a professional military unit. But they made one crucial mistake. They underestimated their prey. Tony had spent his entire adult life learning how to kill things that were bigger and stronger than he was, knew that superior firepower meant nothing if you could not bring it to bear effectively. He also knew that every predator had weaknesses, and the key to survival was finding those weaknesses before they found you. "Concentrated fire on the leader," he shouted. "Aim for the joints and the eyes." The Marines shifted their aim, focusing their fire on the massive alien that had spoken. Their bullets found the spaces between armor plates, the soft tissue around the creature's eyes and mouth. The alien roared in pain and anger, green blood spraying from its wounds. But more aliens were coming. Tony counted at least 10 more moving through the trees, trying to surround his small squad. In a straight fight, the Marines would lose. But Tony had not survived 12 years of combat by fighting fair. "Smoke grenades," he ordered. "Move to Rally Point Bravo. Fighting withdrawal people. Make every shot count." The forest filled with thick gray smoke as the Marines began their retreat. They moved like they had been trained, covering each other's movement and making the aliens pay for every yard of ground. Tony smiled grimly as he heard the frustrated roars of the hunters behind them. The aliens had expected easy prey. Instead, they had found soldiers who knew how to fight and were not afraid to die. The hunt was about to become much more interesting than either side had expected. News of the Oregon battle spread through military channels like wildfire. Within hours, every defense installation on Earth knew that aliens had landed and that they were hostile. More importantly, they knew that the aliens could be hurt and killed. General Paul Martinez stood in the Pentagon's war room, staring at the map of reported alien landings. Red dots marked confirmed hunter pod crashes across 6 continents. Each dot represented a squad of alien predators loose on Earth, hunting human beings for sport. "How many confirmed kills do we have?" he asked Colonel Lisa Grant, who was coordinating. The response from her command center in Colorado: "Sergeant Blake's unit took down 3 aliens before they had to retreat." Lisa reported over the secure video link. "But we lost contact with them 2 hours ago. Search and rescue teams are en route." Paul nodded grimly. The early reports painted a clear picture. The aliens were individually superior to humans in almost every way. They were bigger, stronger, faster, and nearly bulletproof. In a fair fight, they would win every time. "Then we don't fight fair," Paul said quietly. "Lisa, I'm authorizing a complete shift in doctrine. Forget everything we know about conventional warfare. These things are hunters, which means they think. Like predators, we need to start thinking like prey that fights back." Lisa understood immediately. Guerrilla warfare, hit-and-run tactics. Use the terrain to our advantage. Exactly. And I want every military unit on Earth to start working with local civilians. Hunters, trappers, anyone who knows how to track and kill dangerous animals. If these aliens want to hunt us, they're about to learn what it means to be hunted by humans. In the Appalachian Mountains, Jim Crawford was already putting that philosophy into practice. The old hunter had spent 40 years tracking deer, bear, and wild boar through the mountain forests. He knew every trail, every hiding spot, every place where a smart predator might set up an ambush. When the alien pod crashed near his cabin, Jim did not run. Instead, he grabbed his rifle and started tracking the aliens the same way he would track any other dangerous animal. He studied their footprints, learned their movement patterns, and figured out how they hunted. The aliens were good, but they were not perfect. They made noise when they moved through thick brush. They left scent trails that his old hunting dog could follow. Most importantly, they thought like predators from another world. They did not understand human territory the way a human predator would. Jim set his first trap near a stream where the aliens had stopped to drink. He used knowledge passed down from his grandfather, who had learned it from his grandfather before. A simple deadfall trap, weighted with a boulder and triggered by a tripwire. When the alien stepped on the wire, 500 pounds of stone crushed its skull. The other aliens in the hunting party heard their companion die. They could not find Jim. He had already moved to his next position, using paths through the forest that only he knew. To the aliens, he was invisible. To Jim, they were just another kind of dangerous animal that needed to be put down. Meanwhile, Navy Commander Kate Williams was preparing for a much more ambitious mission. Her converted cargo ship, the Maria Santos, drifted quietly through the asteroid belt, trying to look like space junk. Inside, her crew of 20 specialists waited for the perfect moment to strike. "Target acquired," reported Lieutenant Chris Murphy from the navigation station. Alien bioship, medium size, moving on a patrol pattern. It separated from the main fleet. Kate nodded. The plan was simple but dangerous. It would ram the alien ship with their converted cargo vessel, then board it while the aliens were still recovering from the impact. It was suicide if it went wrong. But it was also their best chance to capture alien technology, and maybe even take prisoners. "All hands, prepare for ramming speed," Kate announced over the ship's communication system. "Remember, we're not trying to destroy them. We want to capture their ship intact if possible." The Maria Santos accelerated toward the alien vessel, its hull reinforced with every piece of spare metal they could find. The alien ship detected them at the last moment and tried to evade, but it was too late. The human ship slammed into the bioship's side with devastating force. Both vessels tumbled through space, their hulls cracked in bleeding atmosphere. Kate's crew moved quickly, sealing the breach between the ships and cutting through the alien hull with plasma torches. Staff Sergeant Ben Torres led the boarding party, his demolition charges ready to blow holes in any barriers they countered. The aliens inside the bioship were stunned by the impact. They had never experienced a ramming attack before. Most species in the galaxy considered it a form of suicide, too dangerous to attempt. But humans had been ramming their enemies since the first wooden ships sailed the seas. "Secure the bridge," Kate ordered as her team fought through the alien corridors. I want their navigation systems intact. Try to take at least one prisoner alive. The fighting was brutal, but brief. The aliens were still recovering from the crash when the humans burst through their defenses. Within an hour, the bioship was under human control, and 3 alien prisoners were secured in the cargo hold. Dr. Helen Clark, the team's communications specialist, immediately began working on the alien computer systems. What she found there made her blood run cold. "Commander, you need to see this." She called Kate over to the alien command console. "They're broadcasting everything. Every hunt, every kill, every human they capture. It's being transmitted across the galaxy like some kind of entertainment program." Kate stared at the alien displays, watching recorded footage of human cities being attacked. The aliens were not just hunting for sport. They were putting on a show for their entire species, demonstrating their superiority over the primitive mammals of Earth. "Can you hack into their network?" Kate asked. Helen's fingers flew over the alien controls, her computer skills adapting quickly to the foreign technology. "I think so. Their security is designed to keep people out, not to keep people from getting in. They never expected their prey to fight back technologically. Then let's give them a show they'll never forget," Kate said grimly. "I want you to broadcast footage of every dead alien we've killed. Show them what happens when humans fight back." On Earth, the resistance was growing stronger by the hour. Military units were linking up with civilian hunters, creating a network of guerrilla fighters that stretched across the planet. Former enemies were working together against the common threat. Gang members in Detroit were sharing weapons with National Guard units. Farmers in Iowa were teaching soldiers how to set traps. International borders meant nothing when the entire human species was under attack. The aliens had expected to find scattered prey animals, easy targets for their superior hunting skills. Instead, they were facing something they had never encountered before: an entire planet of predators working together, using every dirty trick that millions of years of evolution had taught them. The hunt was becoming a war. The humans were winning. Commander Veltar stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the tactical displays with growing confusion. Red markers showed the locations of his hunting parties across the planet below. Half of them were no longer responding to communications. The other half were reporting heavy losses and requesting immediate evacuation. This had never happened before in 200 years of hunting. "Status report," he demanded, his voice harsh with frustration. His tactical officer, a younger Zephyrian, named Darkle, checked his organic console with trembling claws. "Squad leader Krixta S team is completely missing.
Pass.
No signals, no life signs. The hunting party in the northern mountains has lost 4 members to what appears to be primitive traps. The coastal team reports that the prey is using coordinated pack tactics." Veltar's second heart began beating faster, a sign of stress among his species. Pack tactics? These mammals are supposed to be scattered prey animals. They don't have the intelligence for complex coordination. "Sir, I think we may have underestimated them," Darkle said carefully. "The intercepted communications suggest they have a planet-wide information network, sharing tactical data and coordinating responses across vast distances." Veltar slammed his claw against the viewing port, cracking the bioglass. "Impossible. We studied this species for months before we arrived. They fight among themselves constantly. They're divided into hundreds of separate groups that hate each other." What Veltar did not understand was that he was seeing something that only happened when humanity faced an outside threat. All the tribal divisions, national boundaries, and ancient hatreds were being set aside. For the first time in human history, the entire species was working together with a single purpose. Major Steve Collins was about to demonstrate exactly what that meant. His squadron of modified F-22 fighters screamed through the upper atmosphere hunting for alien bioships. The jets had been hastily retrofitted with weapons designed from captured alien technology, turning them into hybrid craft that combined human engineering with alien firepower. Raptor leader to all flights, Steve called over the radio. "Target acquired. Large bioship, moving slow and low over the Pacific. This is our chance to show these things that Earth has air superiority." The alien ship was huge, easily the size of an aircraft carrier. Its living hull pulsed with bioluminescent patterns as it skimmed over the ocean waves. The creature was beautiful in its own way, but Steve felt no mercy as he lined up his attack run. Remember the briefing he told his pilots? These ships are alive. That means they have nerve centers, circulation systems, and vital organs. We're not just shooting at armor plating, we're performing surgery with missiles. The squadron split up and attacked from multiple angles, using tactics developed from centuries of human aerial combat. They had studied the bioship structure, from the captured vessel, learning where its weak points were located. The alien ship tried to defend itself with organic weapons that fired streams of corrosive plasma. But the human pilots were too fast and too smart to be caught. Steve's missiles punched through the bioship's nerve clusters, sending the massive creature into convulsions. Other pilots targeted its propulsion organs and sensory arrays. Within minutes, the alien vessel was crashing into the ocean, its death throes sending waves in all directions.
Chapter leader to base.
Steve reported with satisfaction.
Splash.
One alien ship. Target destroyed. On the ground, CIA operative Rachel Kim was coordinating intelligence operations that would have been impossible just days earlier. Every spy agency on Earth was working together, sharing information through networks that had once been strictly classified. Chinese operatives were working with American agents. Russian intelligence was coordinating with British MI6. Israeli Mossad agents were sharing data with their former enemies. We've identified the alien command patterns, Rachel reported during a secure video conference with intelligence chiefs from 12 countries. They're using a hierarchical system with a single commander making all major decisions. If we can eliminate their leadership, the entire invasion force will lose coordination. The British representative, a man named David Collins, leaned forward in his chair. Do we know where their command ship is located? Affirmative, Rachel replied, bringing up a holographic display. It's the largest bioship in their fleet, positioned at the edge of the solar system. Our captured alien technology suggests it's heavily defended, but there's a weakness. The command ship has to maintain constant communication with all hunting parties. That makes it vulnerable to electronic warfare. What do you propose? Asked the Chinese intelligence chief. Rachel smiled coldly. We turn their own communication system against them, use their network to plant a virus that will shut down their entire fleet. It's been done before in human conflicts. We're just scaling it up to interstellar warfare. The plan was ambitious and dangerous, but it was also typically human. When faced with a superior enemy, humans had always found ways to cheat, lie, steal, and backstab their way to victory. Honor and fair play were luxuries they could not afford. Army Ranger Captain Mike Davis was preparing for the most important mission of his life. His team of 12 Special Forces soldiers was going to assault the alien command ship directly, using a captured bioship as their insertion vehicle. It was a suicide mission, but it was also humanity's best chance to end the invasion. Listen up, Mike told his team as they prepared their equipment. We've studied the layout of these bioships. The command center is located in the creature's brain cavity, protected by multiple layers of organic armor. We go in fast, we go in hard, and we don't stop until we reach the alien commander. Sergeant Bill Hayes, Mike's demolition expert, checked. His explosive charges for the 10th time. What about the crew? Intelligence says there could be 50 aliens on that ship. We deal with them the same way we've been dealing with all the others, Mike replied grimly. These things came here to hunt us for sport. They wanted to see how we'd react when we were scared and desperate. Well, now they're going to find out. Captured bioship carrying Mike's team approached the alien flagship slowly, broadcasting the correct identification codes. The Zephyrians had no reason to suspect that their own vessel had been turned against them. Their arrogance had always been their greatest weakness. When the bioship docked with the command vessel, Mike's team moved like ghosts through the alien corridors. They had studied the ship's layout from captured data, memorizing every passage. An access point. The aliens inside were not expecting an attack from their own kind. The fighting was swift and brutal. The Rangers used every trick in the human playbook, combining high technology with primitive cunning. They set traps, used the ship's own systems against its crew, and fought like cornered animals with nothing left to lose. When they finally reached the command center, they found Commander Veltar, standing over his tactical displays, still trying to understand how his perfect hunt had gone so wrong. "You," the alien commander snarled when he saw the humans enter his bridge. "Impossible. You're just prey animals. You can't be here." Mike stepped forward, his rifle trained on the massive alien. "That's where you made your mistake, buddy. Thought we were prey, but humans aren't prey. They're the things that prey animals have nightmares about." Veltar reached for his weapon, but it was too late. The hunters had become the hunted, and the hunt was over. The command bridge of the Zephyrian flagship fell silent as Commander Veltar dropped to his knees, green blood spreading across the floor beneath him. Captain Mike Davis kept his rifle trained on the dying alien while his team secured the rest of the bridge crew. "Ship is secure," reported Sergeant Bill Hayes over the radio. "All alien crew members neutralized. We have control of their command systems." Mike nodded but did not lower his weapon. Veltar was still alive, his alien physiology, keeping him conscious even with mortal wounds. The commander's eyes burned with hatred and confusion as he stared up at the human soldiers. "This cannot be," Veltar wheezed, his voice growing weaker. "We are the apex predators, have hunted across 17 worlds. You are nothing but soft mammals." Mike crouched down beside the dying alien, his expression cold. "That's what you never understood. You looked at us and saw a prey because we don't have claws or fangs or thick skin, but you missed the important part. Humans became the dominant species on Earth not because we're the biggest or strongest. We became dominant because we're the best at killing things that are bigger and stronger than we are." Veltar's breathing grew more labored. "The others will come, more fleets, more hunters. They will avenge us." "Let them come," Mike replied quietly. "We'll be ready." It's the alien commander. Died with those words echoing in his ears. His species had ruled the galaxy through fear and superior strength for centuries. They had never encountered a prey species that fought back with such intelligence and determination, with their command ship captured and their leader dead. The remaining Zephyrian forces began to retreat. But Admiral Susan Wright was not about to let them escape to bring reinforcements. She stood on the bridge of the hastily assembled Earth Defense Fleet, watching as human ships moved to intercept the fleeing aliens. "All ships. This is Admiral Wright," she announced over the fleet communication channel. "The enemy is attempting to withdraw. Do not let them reach hyperspace. These hunters came to our world uninvited. They tried to slaughter our people for entertainment. Now they answer to us." The human fleet was a mixture of converted civilian vessels, military ships, and captured alien bioships. It was not elegant or uniform, but it was effective. The ships had been retrofitted with alien technology and crewed by volunteers who had lost friends and family to the invasion. The final battle took place among the asteroids at the edge of the solar system. The Zephyrian bioships tried to use their superior speed and maneuverability to escape, but they found themselves trapped by human tactics they had never seen before. Lieutenant Commander Pete Johnson piloted a converted mining ship that had been turned into a weapons platform. His crew included former pirates, merchant sailors, and fishing boat captains. They knew how to work together in dangerous conditions, and they knew how to hunt. "Target the big one," Pete ordered, pointing at a Zephyrian heavy cruiser. "Remember, these ships are alive. If we can damage their nervous systems, they'll lose control." The mining ship's weapons, originally designed to break apart asteroids, tore through the bioship's hull like paper. Other human vessels closed in from all directions. Using pack tactics that would have made wolves proud, the aliens fought desperately. But they were no longer the hunters. They'd become the prey.
Ow.
And they were learning what it felt like to be on the wrong end of a hunt conducted by Earth's apex predators, back on Earth. Dr. Rick Santos was making discoveries that would change humanity's understanding of its place in the galaxy. The captured alien technology had revealed the location of the Zephyrian homeworld and their network of conquered planets. "They've been broadcasting our resistance across their entire communication network," Rick explained to the assembled world. "Leaders during an emergency session of the United Nations, Every species in their territory has been watching humans fight back against supposedly superior predators. The psychological impact has been enormous. Secretary General Maria Gonzalez leaned forward in her chair. What kind of psychological impact? Fear, Rick replied simply. The Zephyrians have maintained control through intimidation for centuries. They conquered other species by demonstrating their superiority in single combat. But we didn't just defend ourselves. We turned their own hunt into a demonstration of human tactical superiority. Every alien species that was watching now knows that the great Zephyrian hunters can be defeated. The implications were staggering. Humanity had not just won a defensive war, it accidentally triggered what might become a galaxy-wide revolution. Against Zephyrian rule, President Sarah Martinez stood up and walked to the window overlooking New York Harbor. In the distance, she could see construction crews working on new defensive platforms. The invasion had changed humanity forever. Do we do now? She asked quietly. Rick pulled up a holographic display showing the known galaxy. Red dots marked Zephyrian-controlled systems, while green dots showed the locations of conquered species. We have a choice. We can stay here on Earth and hope no other predator species come hunting, or we can take the initiative. You're talking about offensive operations, General Martinez observed. Taking the war to them. I'm talking about liberation, Rick corrected. There are dozens of species under Zephyrian control. Species that have been hunted and enslaved for centuries. They've seen what humans can do. They're waiting for someone to lead them. Captain Jake Morrison, who had survived the destruction of Horizon Base, spoke up from his position at the tactical display. The aliens made one critical mistake. They assumed that because we don't look like predators, we aren't predators. But every species on Earth learned to fear humans for a reason. We're persistence hunters. We don't give up. We don't stop. We don't forgive. The room fell silent as the world leaders contemplated their decision. Humanity had spent centuries fighting among themselves. The alien invasion had shown them what they could accomplish when they worked together. The motion is before the Assembly, Secretary General Gonzalez announced. All in favor of authorizing offensive operations against Zephyrian-controlled territory? The vote was unanimous. 3 months later, the first human interstellar fleet departed from Earth orbit. The ships were crewed by volunteers from every nation on Earth, carrying weapons designed from captured alien technology and tactics developed from human military history. Captain Mike Davis commanded the lead vessel, a converted bioship that had been renamed the Terran Hunter. As Earth grew smaller behind them, he thought about what they were heading toward. The galaxy was full of predators who thought themselves superior to the soft mammals of Earth. They were about to learn what every prey animal on Earth had learned. Over millions of years of evolution, when humans came hunting, the hunt never ended until they won. The Zephyrians had come to hunt thinking they had found easy prey. Instead, they had awakened something that had been sleeping in human civilization. They had reminded humanity that they were predators. And predators did not stop hunting until there were no more threats to their pack. The great hunt was over. The humans had won. But for humanity, this was just the beginning. There was an entire galaxy full of bullies and predators who needed to learn. Some manners, and humans were very good teachers.